You think the war with Iran is a story about faraway airstrikes on your evening news. It isn't. It's the fuse on something that hasn't detonated since 1945. Here's what's real. Right now, U.S. forces just finished their 13th straight night of strikes on Iran. Brent crude closed back above $100 a barrel for the first time in months, and 3 American troops are already dead in a conflict most people can't find on a map. But here's what nobody's spelling out for you. There's a single next move, one decision sitting on a desk in Washington, that could turn a regional war into a global one almost overnight. Understand it, and you'll see the warning signs weeks before the headlines catch up. At the pump, in your grocery bill, in the value of the dollar in your pocket. Miss it, and you'll find out the way everyone found out in 2022, after the price already hit you. This breakdown walks you through the one trigger analysts are quietly bracing for, the chain reaction the cable networks won't touch, and the exact signals that tell you it's begun. Most people will keep scrolling and stay blind. You won't. Let's start with signal number 1, because it's already flashing, and it's not the one you'd expect. So let's count them down. 7 reasons America's next move in Iran could tip this from a contained war into the biggest global crisis in generations. We start with the one you already feel every single week, and we build step by step all the way to number 1, the single decision that removes every off-ramp. Each one raises the stakes on the last. Don't skip ahead. Number 7, the price you already noticed. You filled up your tank this week, and it stung a little more than last time. You told yourself it was nothing. Prices wiggle. That's what they do. Here's the problem. That little wiggle is the leading edge of a global repricing, and it's not random. It's the war reaching into your wallet through the most direct pipe there is. When oil moves, it doesn't stop at the pump. It walks straight up the chain. Fuel, then shipping, then groceries, then the interest rate on everything you borrow. The villain here isn't a gas station owner gouging you. It's the market pricing in a war most people aren't watching. And the number is real. Brent crude just closed back above $100 a barrel for the first time since May, and earlier in this conflict, the U.S. pump average jumped nearly 27 cents in a single week, the fastest weekly spike since 2022. So here's what you actually do with that. Stop watching gas signs and start watching one number. The daily close on Brent crude. That's your personal early warning gauge. When Brent climbs and holds, you've got roughly a 2 to 3 week head start before it lands on your grocery bill. Understand the chain, oil to fuel to food to rates, and you stop being surprised by your own budget. That's weeks of foresight, for free, while everyone else finds out at the register. And if you're already thinking, okay, this actually affects me, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this get in front of more people who are about to get blindsided at the pump. Now stay with me, because the pump is just the symptom. Number 6 is the physical pressure point that controls it. Number 6, the 20-mile bottleneck. There's a strip of water you've probably never thought about in your life, the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest, it's only about 21 miles across. Doesn't sound threatening. Here's why it is. Roughly 1/5 of the world's oil, a fifth of everything that moves the planet, threads through that one channel every single day, which means a waterway you can't find on a map controls the price of the food in your fridge. The antagonist here is geography itself, weaponized. Iran has been contesting that strait, tankers have been set ablaze on the southern route, and on some days coordinated shipping through it has dropped toward zero. That single lever is what shoved Brent past $100. So what do you watch? Not the headlines. The headlines are always a day late. Watch tanker traffic counts through Hormuz and marine war risk insurance premiums. When traffic drops and premiums spike, the oil move is already locked in. You're seeing tomorrow's price today. Read those 2 signals and you're a full day ahead of the pump, every time. But a choke point is only dangerous if someone keeps paying to fight over it. Number 5 is that bill, and it is staggering. Number 5. The money nobody's adding up. Wars are expensive. You shrug it off. Of course they cost money. But this one is expensive at a record-setting clip, and the size of the number is itself a warning. The first 6 days alone cost the Pentagon an estimated $11.3 billion. The defense secretary has now put a price tag of $37.5 billion on certain aspects of the war, and the administration has asked Congress for an $87.6 billion supplemental, $67 billion of it for the Pentagon. Independent trackers put the total economic hit, once you count the oil shock, north of $100 billion. Here's the move. Don't just gawk at the top-line number. Read the line items in that supplemental. Look specifically for 2 phrases, munitions replenishment and accelerated production. Those tell you whether Washington is budgeting for a short war or a long one. Budgets forecast escalation before any general says a word out loud. Catch it there, and you're reading the war's future in a spreadsheet. And the reason those munitions lines matter so much is number 4, because you cannot spend what you do not have. Number 4, the ceiling nobody talks about. It sounds like a boring supply chain footnote. Interceptor stocks. Production rates. You'd scroll right past it. Don't. This is the ceiling on the entire war. Modern air defense burns through hardware at a brutal cost. An SM-3 interceptor runs around $36 million a shot, a Tomahawk about $2 million, and a single B-2 bomber sortie costs 6 figures per flight hour. Fire enough of those and stockpiles thin out fast, deliveries to allies start slipping, and suddenly the most powerful military on Earth is watching a countdown clock. So here's your signal. Watch for emergency production contracts and any move to put the defense industrial base on a wartime footing. If you hear about civilian factories being converted to munitions lines, that's not a business story. That's a war getting longer. Factories light up months before troops do. That's your months of lead time. And speaking of things people got badly wrong, drop me a comment. Do you think this de-escalates by winter, or does it keep climbing? I read them, and the best questions shape the next breakdown, because number 3 is the thing everyone already got wrong once. Number 3, the ceasefire that wasn't. They'll just sign another ceasefire. It'll calm down. It always does. That's exactly what people said last time. And here's the uncomfortable part. They did sign one, a memorandum in June, meant to reopen the strait and end the war. By July it was in tatters. After ships were attacked in early July, the strikes came back harder than before. 13 consecutive nights of U.S. strikes by late in the month, and 3 American service members killed in the mid-July wave. The pattern is the villain here. Every breakthrough that leaves the core dispute unresolved is just an intermission. So stop trusting the word ceasefire in a headline. Go one level deeper and ask one question. Does the deal actually resolve who controls the Strait of Hormuz? If that question is left open, the ceasefire collapses again. Every time. Learn to read that one detail and you'll never get lulled by a fake calm. That alone puts you ahead of most of the analysts on TV. Now, the final 2 get serious. Number 2 isn't even in Iran. It's in Washington. Number 2, the crack forming at home. Political squabbling. Roll call votes. You tune it out like everyone does. Tune back in, because this is a legitimacy crisis forming in real time, and cornered governments do reckless things. The House has already voted 214 to 208 to call for an end to the war. The Senate came within a hair, 49 to 47, of advancing a binding withdrawal resolution. Polls show a majority of Americans already think this was a mistake. The antagonist here isn't one party, it's the vice closing on the decision makers. So watch those vote margins. When they tighten from symbolic to binding, the president's room to maneuver collapses, and a leader who can't escalate and can't be seen backing down is a leader who reaches for something dramatic. The roll call is your leading indicator of desperation. If you want to actually track this stuff as it moves instead of finding out after the fact, subscribe. This is the channel that follows the incentives, not the noise. Which brings us to number 1, the single move that removes every exit. Number 1, the trigger. America will never put boots on the ground in Iran. Everyone learned that lesson in Iraq, maybe, but here's what's changed and why this is the big one. The air campaign has hit its structural ceiling. It can degrade Iran, it cannot defeat it. And a leader who needs a visible, on-camera win eventually runs out of options that look strong. That's when a ground commitment stops being unthinkable and starts being tempting. And this is where the analysis in this video makes its central, chilling case. And I'll flag clearly that this next part is the thesis, the prediction, not a settled fact. The argument goes like this. The moment American ground forces commit, a rival great power with its own enormous stake in Iran surviving, Iran is Russia's overland corridor to warm water trade outside Western control, has every incentive to step in, not with troops, but with a declaration that neutralizes the West's ultimate off-ramp. Remove that off-ramp, and a regional war becomes a global one, and the strain reaches the dollar system itself. That's the scenario. You don't have to buy it whole to protect yourself with it. So watch 3 real checkable signals. 1. Leaked Pentagon options or contingency briefings mentioning ground operations. That's the preparatory phase. 2. A shift in Kremlin language from "we're concerned" to "this will not be tolerated." That's a line being drawn. 3. The money's confidence gauge. The IMF's quarterly reserve currency data and the price of gold. When the smartest, most conservative money on Earth starts hedging, it's telling you something the headlines won't. Read those 3, and you will see the biggest geopolitical turn of your lifetime forming, while the news is still telling you everything's under control. That's the countdown. 7 signals, 1 trigger. If this gave you a way to see what's coming before it hits your wallet, do 3 quick things. Like this so it reaches more people, subscribe so you catch the next one, and tell me in the comments, do you think number 1 actually happens, or does cooler judgment win? I read every reply.